This is Dustin Lee Massey at Dustin Lee Massey from Instagram, and you're listening to SuperHouse.
Welcome to SuperHouse, and I am back in the driver's seat. This has been the man who knows too much about Batman.
And it is I, Andrew, and I can't wait for Ben to regale us with a tale of TellTale once again.
And this is Wolfie, and you have 10 years to live.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, Fred, just pick the first thing.
You like dark stuff, so you must like DC.
I was thinking of those websites you would put your birth date in or something, and it would calculate when you're dead, death calculator.
Oh yeah. Those random
Yeah, so if you're listening to this episode, like and subscribe or you'll die.
Well,
So you
not
just
like
talk-
people have been
you
thinking
probably
about death
won't, and
recently.
that's highly insensitive at a time like this, but like and subscribe.
exactly what you guys wanted to hear. Okay, so
Go
Andrew
to deathcalculator.com.
Andrew has calculated, well, not calculated, he has covered the retro games, the Arkham games, and now we're heading into part 3 of our Batman video game series, this time with Batman, the TellTale series.
Woo!
Now,
Oh, yeah.
Wolfie, you've played this game, right?
Yes, I actually have not finished the last and final episode of Season 1, but I'm familiar with the game.
Okay, cool. And then Andrew, you've played this as well.
I just started today, and I'm enjoying it, but I will get into that later.
Okay.
And yeah, dude, I finished almost the first episode.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I think I had lunch in between, and I don't know, man.
They're kind of long, though. It's like an hour of TV.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was
little bit
longer than
more
I was
than that, yeah.
expecting. I was expecting like 30-minute episodes, so I was like, yeah, I'll bang this out. And then it just
Nah,
didn't.
punk.
They're
I didn't-
all like maybe like an hour to an hour and a half.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't time it right. I got to the part where spoiler, we jumping ahead, but the red Lamborghini turns into the Batmobile and he speeds off.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, full disclosure, I have not actually played these games.
JK.
And that's our episode. So thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Instagram at SuperHousePod. Shout out to Cookie Noms.
Yeah. Patreon.com SuperHousePodcast.
And we'll see you next time. Okay, so anyway. I haven't played these games, so why the hell am I the one talking about this? Well, the thing is, TellTale is a very different type of game. With the Arkham games, very much it's about fighting on top of mixing in the animated series and comics, bringing it to life, and having a story as well as that. TellTale, however, is very story-driven to the point where a lot of fans have edited together cutscenes or important moments to it that can kind of be its own animated movie in a way.
Right.
So I've seen a lot of that footage, and the more I saw of certain scenes, the more I had to watch more and more, and that's how I ended up just getting into this deep abyss of the TellTale Batman. What is this? What are the different modes that happen, and the fascination of that? And it's a very different take that might not be as popular as the Arkham games, but it's certainly deserving of a full episode. So
there are definitely some aspects that we'll get into in a minute. I know I
Yeah,
keep
of
dropping the hints, but like that I really like more than the Arkham games. But I think
yes.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Perfect. But before we start tackling the Batman Telltale series, we're just going to go in assuming that the listeners don't know anything. And even if you do know stuff about it, maybe you don't know some of the things that we're going to bring up. So first off, we call it Batman the Telltale series. What is TellTale? So
Yes.
the TellTale gamers, they couldn't be any more different from the developers of the Arkham games. The Arkham games we talked about, Rocksteady, they are all, like, a lot of them are British. TellTale actually started from developers from LucasArts, from Lucasfilms.
Ooh, all right.
Okay.
And they used to do a lot of adventure games until LucasArts pulled the plug. So
Suckers.
in July 2004, 3 developers got together, Kevin Bruner, Dan Connors, and Troy Molander, in San Rafael, California, and they created TellTale. And the best analogy I can have to this type of game is it's like those choose-your-own-adventure books, but as a video game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So instead of different. Like the cliche is just like, all right, video game is different levels, and you beat a boss, and then you go to the next level, and you work your way up and beat another boss. Like, this was completely different. This was story driven, and each game was like a season of a TV show where they would split it into different episodes over time. So for the Batman TellTale game specifically, it's about 5 episodes in each season, and each one taking about an hour to an hour and a half or so, depending on how long you're playing it. But overall, they're each almost like their own feature in a way. And
Yes.
they decided the best way to do this is to start with intellectual properties with small fan bases. So it wasn't stuff like Batman yet.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it was, no, it wasn't that yet. It was
Okay.
like that comic Bone. It was like Wallace and
yeah.
Gromit.
They did one for Bone? Really?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, wow.
Holy
Gotta
shit.
find that.
And as they got more popular 10 years later, that's when they were just like, let's go more mainstream. So they then got Back to the Future. They got Jurassic
Oh,
Park.
shit.
And
Nice.
then
What? Oh, I remember the Back to the Future one.
Yeah.
Right on. I gotta play that. Shice.
and then around 2012 they released The Walking Dead.
Yep.
Oh,
Now.
yes. I remember that. Yes.
Yup. Mhm.
This is where they start getting to form out their signature way of playing it. Because beforehand it was very narrative driven,
Yeah.
but this was even more so. Because
That is, by the way, my favorite iteration of The Walking
Walking
Dead, I
Dead?
have to say.
yeah, no, because
Absolutely. It's so
so here's what makes TellTale unique in terms of the stories. The player has the ability to make choices affecting the rest of the episode as well as future episodes and how they play out. So it makes you feel like you are that character and you get a personalized version of the story. So if you make a choice in terms of whether to save somebody, the other person dies and doesn't show up for the rest of the game. But you can go back and play it, and you can choose to save the other person, and that person who died in the previous version, that person is still alive for the rest of the game. Whatever happens, the consequences are felt throughout the entire season.
You know, the 45 minutes I did play this game, I was feeling like, man, am I being a dick? Like, most of the time.
yeah.
I was like, man, I don't want to, I got to represent Bruce Wayne here. And that's fucking,
They present you with some pretty like dire and complex moral situations. You're like,
Yeah.
oh god, and you're like, Harvey's such a douche, like all the asshole characters. I usually, if they give me one reason, I'm like, cut him off right away. So Walking Dead, that guy I already know he's gonna die in a couple chapters.
No, see, I'm not. To me, I'm seeing myself as Bruce Wayne, where he is in that story. So he's not Two-Faced yet, and he hasn't been a
Right.
douche on screen to me yet. So
Douche
I'm
face.
treating him like my best friend so far. That's how I've been
That's
doing
what I was doing. He really challenges you.
it. Yeah,
Test your patience.
yeah.
So basically, you can replay the game, pick alternative choices, and it'll be a completely different story. And this is where The Walking Dead was where TellTale got put on the map of just like, holy shit, these games are awesome, and they're great story, like examples of storytelling in games and examples of great game writing. So I imagine though,
And
that
immersive entertainment, like the
oh yeah, definitely.
choices and stuff.
And for
But
Batman 2, the most time playing as Bruce Wayne ever.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention
Great
that,
Bruce
but-
Wayne, especially
they-
because you're sharing in his like conflicted emotions and things like that. You're like, oh my god, this character is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect for this type of game. So in 2016, that's when they release the first part of the TellTale series. And I imagine at the time there might have been some skepticism once TellTale got the license, because keep in mind, 2016, Arkham Knight came out 2015. We had already had the Arkham
right.
quadrilogy. So people are just like, we already had our fill of a great Batman video game series. Why do we need another one? Type of feeling.
Right.
And that's when this basically made it was first released August 2nd, 2016. The first episode called Realm of Shadows, the one that Andrew started playing. And it basically distinguished itself from Arkham in a whole variety of different ways. So one of the things is, as you guys brought up, you spend way more time as Bruce Wayne than you would in any other game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not even stupid shit. It's not like,
It's
oh,
Bruce
which
Wayne, the
model should
game.
I date? Yeah, it's not like,
Featuring
oh,
Batman.
like what business meeting should I go to? Should I send a memo to Lucius Fox? Like, it's none of that type of shit. It's
Dude,
actual-
the scene where you
actual
go
choices.
in, I chose to talk with Falcone privately. I don't know if that's forced eventually or not, but
I
that
think that's you're
was
supposed to, yeah.
that was intense, man. That was one of my favorite parts actually. So
Really,
so far,
I went in.
So
I had
far.
I kept Harvey with me, and it turned into a total shit show, and I lost my whole like leverage on that argument. I was like, fuck, I should have left him out there. You son of a bitch.
It's like, he's going to be Two-Face. So
I didn't take that fucking.
He starts
I didn't
by
take that fucking
inadvertently
pool
stabbing
cue,
you
man.
in the back.
That's
or,
true.
or as Mr. Lau would put it, accidentally wasting your time. Sorry,
Yes,
was that
exactly.
racist? Apologize.
When he offers the pool cue, I was like, nope.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Good.
You know.
But yeah, in terms of
It's so good.
gameplay, you get to decide sometimes whether to do things as Batman or as Bruce Wayne, or who to go to when you're Bruce Wayne or Batman, which lead to different scenes, lead to getting different information if you're trying to interrogate somebody, also lead to different ways that people feel about you during the entire time. You're also, as we've kind of hinted at, you're in control of Batman's personality. So he can be compassionate or he can be kind of a dick. He's either going to be the more philanthropic type, the hope for Gotham type from Nolan, or he's going to be the all-star Frank Miller, the goddamn Batman.
That's what I was
depending on which
thinking.
version.
You can choose to be Grant Morrison's Batman or Frank Miller's Batman. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So there will be a time coming up where you will either hang a criminal by his hands on a building to scare him even more, or you just flat out impale him in the shoulder. So it's that type of stuff. Also, the way that Batman looks is designed differently from the Arkham ones. As you notice, he's
Such
not
a cool suit.
this huge bodybuilder type like in the Arkham games. He's more lithe. He looks more like an actual human being. Also, one thing
Can we talk
noticed-
about that real quick?
Sure,
You're talking
yeah.
about this is one of the points I wanted to bring up. I like the TellTale suit more than the Arkham suit. I like a little bit more curved lines rather than the straight lines too, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. It's more like the Arkham suit is kind of almost bro-y, but
Right.
but
Yeah.
the TellTale, like I like the Arkham suit too. It's fine. Like I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good suit. No, not saying it's a bad suit, but
Right.
if I'm having to pick, it's gonna be the TellTale suit. I think that is a one fucking excellent ass suit, man.
Yep.
And the
No.
bat signal too, as well. The bat logo or whatever on the
Yeah.
chest and everything. I like that more as well. I think.
Nice. Yeah, no, it also incorporates. We've discussed this in the Dark Knight episode, but the white eyes, because the Arkham
Yes.
Yeah.
games, you could see his eyes just like in a live action film.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But in the video game, they go with the white eyes, and I didn't even think about the difference until I was reviewing it for this episode. I was like, oh yeah, they did do that. So he's already looks different from that. And then obviously, voice actor wise, we don't have Kevin Conroy in this one. We have Troy Baker. Now, we mentioned him a little bit for the Arkham games, but just to give you guys a full history of Troy Baker, he was the voice of Two-Face in Arkham City, as well as the Tim Drake Robin in Arkham City. He was the voice of Lego Batman in the Lego Batman video games, as
Right.
well as the Lego Batman animated films. So that's Lego Batman before Will Arnett.
Right.
And in that continuity, he's also the voice of, Two-Face, Sinestro, Brainiac, Hawkman, the Atom, Terry McGinnis, Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, Red Hood, the Trickster, and the Music Meister.
Nice.
He is the Joker in Arkham Origins. He did the voice of one of the Court of Owls members in the Batman vs. Robin Court of Owls movie. He was Arkham Knight in Arkham Knight. He voiced Joker again in Batman Unlimited, as well as Batman Assault on Arkham, the Arkhamverse movie. And most recently, he voiced both Batman and Joker in the Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
nice.
Damn.
So this man has basically played every single male character in the Batman universe at this point.
Yes.
And he's playing a very different Batman from the Lego Batman, which is very much a kiddish Batman. He's very much a, he's caricature, so that he can be a little bit more, he's kind of funny in just how dry he is. He plays it completely straight, of course, in this version of Batman. And another interesting thing is that for when he's in the Batsuit, they went with the Ben Affleck type of Batman where he has a voice modulator.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. So if I had, just a quick side note, if I had my preference and styles of Batman voice, my ranking would be, of course, number one is Kevin Conroy with a sort of like loud, booming, like low voice type of darkness to it.
Yeah.
Number two would probably be the Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer type gritty whisper. And
Yeah.
then
I like
I'd,
Creepy Whisper.
yeah. And then I'd rank
That's
number
my Cholo
three.
name, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
And then I rank number 3 to be the voice modulator in TellTale and Affleck. And then at the very bottom is throat cancer. But that's just my preference. So
I think I pretty much am in line with that. Although, yeah, the voice modulator just still gets me. I'd rather they just change their voice with their own voice. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is Batman in around year 2-ish. It seems it's not an origin story, but he obviously is in the beginning of his career. Carmine Falcone is still mob boss. Harvey Dent is DA. Gordon's not a commissioner yet. The Rogues Gallery hasn't quite shown up. So this is very familiar territory. But there still are other aspects that are different. So as Andrew noted, the Batmobile can switch between being Bruce's regular red Lamborghini, and then it actually molds itself into being the Batmobile, which is kind of a fun. I don't know if this was a deliberate reference, but in the old serials, Bruce Wayne's car was a convertible, and then when he put the top up, it was the Batmobile. So the idea of Batmobile and Bruce Wayne's car being interchangeable comes from there. I don't know if it was deliberate, but it's an interesting tie. Something I also noticed, though, is just like how Zack Snyder's Batmobile in BVS and Justice League looked like the Arkham Knight Batmobile. Is it just me, or does this Batmobile kind of look like the one that we're going to see with Pattinson?
I was thinking the exact thing. I think that Matt Reeves is definitely taking an influence. Well, I don't know about definitely, but there's definitely some connections that could be drawn between that Batmobile, his, and also, of course, his Penguin and TellTale's Penguin. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah. I was just saying that it seems like they're already somewhat would be drawing off of, or TellTale did a lot of the heavy lifting, if you will.
Right.
Because it's such a good way to tell this story, or these aspects of the story, or their take on the story. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it would just be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's work it into our script.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. So, I definitely feel like Matt Reeves has played this game at some point, which is kind of wild to think about, that like in between like Planet of the Apes movies or something, he's just like, let me play this TellTale game when I get home.
Yes.
But that's a possibility, just given what we're seeing here. Also, you get to do a lot more detective work in this game versus the Arkham games.
Yes.
You go into crime scenes, you look at clues, you put stuff together. I mean, arguably Batman in the actual animatics and stuff puts stuff together, but you're still the one who like looks at everything and points and clicks at what he's looking at. Also, this is a use. Batman uses drones in this to help give him the layout of certain areas before he's going to attack. So it's a different take on Batman surveilling everything before he sort of either stealthily goes in or just crashes through the window or whatever.
He uses drones way back in Kingdom Come, though, doesn't he?
He does, but they're more like bat robots that are patrolling everything.
Oh, right.
This one's kind of just more of a surveillance thing that like just looks like a regular drone. They're not supposed to look like they're Batman's drones.
Yeah. I like to the point at which this Batman, the TellTale Batman, is like has this futuristic technology going on with his suit and everything. Because in Dark Knight you had like these futuristic concepts that seemed like pretty practical in contemporary times or based on something real. But this way, like how they have all this different stuff. He can drop sensors with his fingers and stuff like that, and have like a bat computer basically communicating through the suit. I kind of like that. That it's like we're at future Batman now. This is like the middle point between Batman Beyond or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we're about there. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
but it feels like a modern. It's like this is a 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2016 when they made this, but still feels like a very much of our time.
Yeah.
I love
when they did this. Let's see. So the writers of this, there were several writers, but I want to give credit to them because a lot of times they aren't given the credit that they're due when it's something like this. So the lead writers were Zach Keller, Nicole Martinez, Eric Stripe, Megan Thornton, James Windelier, and then they were assisted by Meredith Ainsworth, Patrick Kevin Day, Andrew Hansen, Jessica Krause, Luke McMullen, and Shannon Ingles. So again, a lot of writers, but it's almost like a television writer's room in terms of how they wrote this.
Sure.
Because imagine like if you pick different choices, you need people writing different lines of dialogue, different story ideas of what's going to happen. You can't just be like, all right, I'll crank out writing this 5-episode Telltale game in one afternoon. It's just not possible because of the infinite amount of choices that you're going to be making and how that's going to affect the rest of the game here.
I mean, yeah, the game writing is notorious. It's always been this way ever since, PS1 days, maybe. As soon as you got past the Super Nintendo days, like game writing, well, it's gotten worse and worse and worse as far as like how much you have to write. Like a video game script is so much longer than a movie script. It's a lot going on, so definitely need a lot of writers in the room, I think. And God, just playing the first 45 minutes of this game, man, it's just like all the dialogue is so natural, and all the story elements are very well done. It's really impressive. And if Matt Reeves does not have some opening where Batman's coming through a fucking cloud of smoke, I will be upset because that shit was fucking awesome. So
I know, they just have executed a lot. They've just executed a lot of really cool Batman concepts in motion on screen, that we just haven't really had the satisfaction to see quite yet. Or just
But I would say the best comparison to this is almost like this is the closest we'll get to a live action TV show of an active Batman.
Pretty much, yes.
It's the feeling of this long episodic thing, but also it makes so many interesting story ideas that you're like glued to it the whole time.
Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly. I mean, Catwoman, spoilers by the way for this whole thing, but like Catwoman figuring it out immediately, who he is and all that stuff. God, that's just so good. Adds tension to a scene. There's more scenes. There's like that in the Falcone scene. It's just like so tense, and you're not even Batman. You're just fucking Bruce Wayne talking to somebody.
Yeah, you have to use your wit and your cunning.
Yeah,
that was tough for me.
Yeah. Let's see. And I also want to shout out to the music is by Jared Emerson Johnson, and he basically does his own take on the music, and I really appreciate it. I really like it. It's,
yes.
There's some. Batman's got his own theme. Penguin kind of has his own sinister stuff, and as we get further along, each person kind of has his or her own subtle, dark theme to it that I really liked. Andrew mentioned Catwoman, and she's the first villain that we kind of chase after. She's got a very similar standard design to what we're used to seeing with Catwoman. Nothing too crazy. She's got the goggles that I think originally Darwin Cook designed for her in the comics. I would say she's probably not nearly as sexualized as she was in the Arkham version or in other versions. But she's voiced by Laura Bailey. Now, Laura Bailey has a history of co-starring with Troy Baker in a lot of comic book related properties. So while Troy Baker was Lego Batman, she was also Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Wonder Woman. She had some minor roles in Arkham Origins. When Troy Baker was Joker in the Batman Unlimited movies, she was Cheetah. She was also Mary Jane in the Marvel Spider-Man game that recently came out.
Oh shit, okay.
And also she voiced Black Widow both in the animated series Avengers Assemble, where Troy Baker was Hawkeye, as well as the upcoming Marvel's Avengers video game, which has Troy Baker as the voice of Bruce Banner. Okay. So, nice. It's funny because I didn't know about any of this until I dug deep into the IMDb, and I found out, like, Jesus, these guys voice all these superheroes, and we don't even, like, they're not at the top of our heads when we think of these characters, but they've been playing these characters for years. They're just unsung because of the fact that they're voice actors.
What a great life, the job you go in. You're not like top tier AAA Joker, but you're like pinch hitter Joker, and that's pretty good. Get your check, throw down on your take
and
on
then
it.
You don't have but then you don't have to worry about paparazzi pictures following wherever you go because you're not you're not Joaquin Phoenix. You're not the live action Joker.
Yeah.
Also,
you can just walk outside and nobody gives a shit.
Something to be said about royalty checks. The residuals in animation have got to be really good because you can keep coming back to a role and you don't have to worry about like your look or your aging. You know what I mean? Like, even if you do it just once, you're going to get lots of residuals probably. Well, depending on your contract, I guess. But I'm sure they're pretty fucking good. And if you can get called back easily, you don't even have to you don't have to like stay in shape. Like, I don't know, like voice actors just really
you only have
really
to sound powerful.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy's still voicing Batman in his 60s, but he can still voice Batman when Batman's like 30 something.
Dude, I saw him at fucking E3 because he was there for one of the Arkham games, and he's like on this like second floor of an open air thing. We're on the bottom floor. Everybody can see him though. He looks down and he just goes, "I am the Knight," and everybody was like, "Yeah!"
That's amazing.
I am the Knight.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
That's awesome. He recently did a live reading of the Batman Adventures Continue comic. That's a continuation of the animated series. So
that's
hopefully
sweet.
we get
Cool.
some more of that.
Did they live stream that somewhere?
Yeah, they live streamed that on the
I
DC
wanna see
Instagram.
that.
So
Nice.
let's see. Also in the beginning, you cross paths with Gordon. Now, thankfully, you don't need to convince Gordon a lot of the time to help you out. I mean, he's not. They're in the very beginning, already working together, but have an uneasy alliance. Batman's already on the radio talking to him in the beginning. So thankfully, you don't have to deal with the standard bullshit of just like, you got to convince Gordon, even though you know that Gordon's going to be convinced because this is Commissioner Gordon and Batman. Gordon is voiced by actor Murphy Geyer, who also was in Joker. He was the announcer for Robert De Niro's show.
Oh my god.
So a lot of connections here. Also, Alfred shows up, and this is a very different looking Alfred from the traditional look. Unlike the traditional look in the comics with the mustache and everything, this Alfred has white hair, no mustache, and glasses, much like the live action versions, like Alan Napier in the 66 show or Michael Goff in the 90s movies and Jeremy Irons. However, this is the only time where Alfred wearing glasses actually plays a role in the plot at some point.
Yes. So I only have a very extremely minor beef here. It just seems like he's with the glasses. The glasses are too similar to Gordon or something. I don't know. There's something about the way Alfred looks and the way Gordon looks. And I guess I don't know. Am I the only one here?
Nah, you're whack.
Okay.
I mean, if anything, that was a bigger problem in the 66 show. Like, Alan Napier's Alfred had glasses, white hair, and the bushy mustache. And Will Hamilton's Commissioner Gordon had no glasses or a mustache.
I'll take any of these Alfreds over comic accurate Alfred any day.
Well,
not feeling the haircut and the mustache. Never did. Alfred wasn't interesting to me until his hair was white and he was wearing glasses, I suppose. So I pick.
It's a character thing. Okay.
all right.
Yeah.
He's voiced by actor N. Reitel, who had a small guest spot in Batman the Brave and the Bold as a character named Darigus. I forgot how it's pronounced, but it's in the Sword of the Atom episode. But there's already a great dynamic between the two of them, where he's just like, I know you're trying to be a myth, but don't end up becoming a monster. And Bruce is like, sometimes you need a monster. And I was like, all right, I like that.
You rocked that, Ben.
Oh, thanks.
That sounded just
You're not
exactly
the only one who,
like the game.
You're not the only one who can do accents. Friends
What?
Oi!
Anyway.
All right, mate. All right, so
I
Harvey
say.
Dent. You guys notice Harvey Dent is bigger than Bruce?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a fucking monster, dude.
He's freaking shredded.
He's at least 2 inches taller, it looks like, and a fucking like all-star quarterback looking motherfucker.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting choice. I don't know. I mean,
He
obviously
probably
it's
did play
deliberate.
college football.
Yeah,
he banged a lot of cheerleaders or something. Is what it looks like.
Like, you could see Harvey being the star quarterback who everybody loved, but then Bruce was, like, his big supporter who was, like, secretly helping to pay for his college because of how good of friends they were.
Damn, Ben won, everybody.
Yeah, man. Establishing that they're bros, man, you know, it makes the fall from grace that much more powerful, of course.
So good, yeah.
Yes. So, this is also another instance of TellTale subtly changing canon a little bit in the beginning, because Harvey's already the district attorney. He isn't trying to run for being district attorney. He's not trying to be reelected to be district attorney like in the animated series. He's running for the top man. He's running to be mayor, which leads to a lot of interesting stuff later on. But Harvey Dent, anyway, is voiced by Travis Willingham, who also has co-starred with Troy Baker and Laura Bailey in the DC stuff. So while Troy Baker was Batman in the Lego DC games, Travis was Superman. He was also the heretic in the Batman Bad Blood movie, while Laura Bailey was MJ in the Marvel Spider-Man game. He was Wilson Fisk.
Oh, shit.
And
Nice.
while Laura Bailey was Black Widow and Troy Baker has switched from being Bruce Banner and Hawkeye in the Avengers stuff, Travis voices Thor in all those.
Okay, that makes
So,
sense, yeah.
I love it.
Another connection, though, is that he and Laura Bailey, the voice of Catwoman, are a married couple. So that also probably explains that, like, a lot of the times they're both talented voice actors and
Hey, I know a
the same
guy.
shit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
they're
and
just
I'm pretty
buds.
and I'm pretty sure Troy Baker's probably buds with both of them because of just how often they have
It's
to
a
work
great
together in this.
community, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's also a great underground part of the community because, like, everybody's,
Yeah.
like, praising RDJ and Hemsworth and all this shit. But, like, these guys have been playing and having that dynamic behind the scenes for years. And,
Yeah.
again, like, they just get the benefit of it's only through the voice. They can just go to
Yeah.
the store. Well, not these days, but they can go anywhere and nobody's really going to, like, be trying to stop them. Very few people might, like, recognize them because of the convention appearances.
Oh my God!
Yeah. But it's not the
Travis
same thing.
Willingham! Whoa! Can you sign my Slurpee?
Thor and Superman. Oh my God, you're a god.
I know this is a Family Guy comic, but will you sign it?
Psych.
My Thor comics are all sticky.
This impersonation was not based on anybody real or factual.
So, Travis, Laura, Troy, if you are listening to this, please help sign and autograph Wolfie's stuff, as he just asked us to do.
Oh!
That's how he gets around celebrities. That's why we
Yes,
don't
exactly.
we don't take him to the conventions.
Voice actors are my favorite types of actors. Oh!
If you get like that around Travis Willingham or whatever, we're gonna fucking have a cardiac next to Kevin Conroy.
No!
He did. So Harvey Dent here, obviously, as we talked about, he's best friends with Bruce, which is something that we said was missing from The Dark Knight and something that we really loved from the animated series and certain comics. So that's definitely carried over here. He's running against Mayor Hill, who you guys might remember from the animated series because he's the guy who was, like, always captured or kidnapped or put for ransom all the time. But this actually stays truer to the original comics than the animated series because Hamilton Hill in the comics was corrupt and working under a mob boss. In the comics, it was Rupert Thorne, but obviously here, it's Carmine Falcone. So this version of Falcone is voiced by Richard McGonigal, who has also played Brainiac and Perry White in the Batman, the Brave and the Bold. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Say his name again.
McGonigal.
Yeah. Say it
Scottish is funny.
McGonigal. Well, he's
Sorry,
American
no
born.
offense. No offense, Mr. McGarnagle. Love the name.
But McGonigal...
Also go by Mr. McGillicuddy. So.
Oh, yeah, I remember. He kind of... I remember you introduced yourself that in one of the episodes. I was like, oh, yeah.
Mr. McGillicuddy. AKA
Well,
Johnny Snoops. Sorry.
I feel like this Falcone is closer to the Batman Begins type of Falcone. First off, they call him Falcone, just like in the movie. He's also a little bit more thuggish. He's not like the elegant mobster in the comics. And he even has scenes with Bruce, just like in the Batman Begins movie, while he's wearing the white suit. So he's obviously established to be one of the first villains in here. And then around the same party, you also meet Vicki Vale, who's voiced by Erin Yvette, I think she's the only one of the main leads who didn't have any previous experience in any Batman stuff beforehand. But interesting thing, as you guys might have noticed in playing it, this Vicki Vale is not redhead like in the comics, nor is she blonde like in the Batman '89 movie or the Arkham games. But they changed her hair to be a brunette, and they also established that she's not a love interest or any hint of becoming or having a romance with Bruce Wayne in this version. So they very much had her as an investigator.
I shut her down right away. I knew she was trouble.
But
Well, there's that scene where Bruce says, "Oh, Vicky," and then Alfred says, "Yes, Miss Vale." And
Yes.
I don't know, maybe that's just how they talk, but it's just it kind of sounded like that was like hinting at something. I don't know.
potentially, or they might just be referencing what we know from like the '89 movie. We're just like, we know they get together.
Okay.
in the
She's
regular
better as a
continuity.
blonde. I'm not gonna lie.
You like her as blonde versus
She's
redhead?
got a punch to her, you know. Like, I love everybody, you know, brunettes especially. But Vicki Vale is just, I don't know. I mean, but it worked. It worked out for the story that they're telling.
Yeah,
rather.
I think so. But we'll get to that. But the biggest major character change was, as we've mentioned, the Penguin. Penguin is voiced by actor Jason Spacek, who, or maybe I'm mispronouncing that, but Jason ended up voicing the Joker in the latest Batman Hush movie. He was also Red Hood to Troy Baker's Batman in the DC Lego films, and he also is in Young Justice, originally as Wally West, and then now as Forager. So this guy has been also around the DC block playing all these different characters, but this is a very different Penguin than what we're used to. So first off, physically, he is Bruce's age, and he is thin and relatively good looking. He doesn't have a long beak nose. He's not waddling around. He's not fat or anything. Bruce even nicknames him Oz because they grew up together. Now, as we've mentioned before, Matt Reeves's The Batman, when he announced Colin Farrell was Penguin, he said, "Hello, Oz." And when Colin Farrell was on Ellen, you okay there?
Oh, we're gonna pop! Oh, get your comics out of the way. Get them out of the way.
We'll send a towel over to you. So Penguin
Buy SuperHouse
also,
towels at redbubble.com.
Can you fax me a towel?
Also, when Colin Farrell was on Ellen, Ellen's like, "Who are you playing in the Batman?" And he didn't say, "Oh, I play Penguin." He said, "I play Oz, Cobblepot." So
That is
again,
cool. That is cool.
interesting connection here. So who is this Oz Cobblepot version of Penguin?
He knows his
like
stuff.
The Arkham, so like the Penguin in Arkham games, he's British, which again could be maybe why they cast Colin Farrell. But I mean, Colin Farrell has played Irish, English, and American, so who knows what accent he's
Bro,
going to use in this.
I think that we're gonna see Penguin being British from now on, man. This is just how it's gonna be.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, who else wants to wear monocles this day and age?
It is true. It's true. But it seems that it's a British family who moved to Gotham and became, a rich family here. They even have a park called Cobblepot Park with a like a bust of his father there, who of course has the monocle.
Right,
But
right.
his
That's a
mother,
nasty place
yeah,
these days.
yeah, no, it is. We end up seeing it, and it's all run down, and Oswald shows up and beats a whole bunch of muggers who were trying to terrorize Bruce. So, again, a very
Those guys were
different-
jerks.
Yeah, a very different type of Penguin here. But his backstory is they used to be like one of the top rich families of Gotham until his mom was committed to Arkham Asylum for being insane. Funny enough, his mom is named Esther in this, which was the name given to her in Batman Returns.
Yes. Did
and
that
then it
movie that movie named her finally
Yeah,
or no?
yeah, that
It
was the
did,
first
right?
time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then just why not just go with it then? They
Yeah,
were the
pretty
first
much.
ones. Yeah.
Funny enough, they didn't carry over the name of the father, though. His name is Tucker Cobblepot in the movie, but I think it's Theodore in this version.
Okay.
Maybe
but-
Tucker's like a nickname.
Maybe, yeah. But his
Theodore.
father then killed himself afterwards,
Oh,
and
whoa.
the Cobblepot name was ruined
That
afterwards.
escalated.
So, yeah. So with both of his parents out of commission, Oswald then sort of fell off the map, and that's where he diverged from Bruce, where apparently he was in the army, who went back to England, went to the army, then had a dishonorable discharge.
That's how he knows how to fight.
Yeah. and then got into arms dealing, illegal boxing matches, prison stints, and is apparently known in the criminal circles as the Penguin, not because of what he looks like, but because he wears a penguin mask, which is very different from what we're used to.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he's got a clear chip on his
Because
shoulder.
he's cold and slippery. You know, it just slides right out of there, and all you hear is "whack" or whatever they say.
Yeah, he doesn't do the walk walk like Ferris Meredith did.
That's how he calls his henchmen back.
Walk, walk, walk. Walk, walk,
Wait,
walk, walk.
Again,
his penguin
interesting
mask
change.
though is like the plague doctor mask. Or
It
something?
does look like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is that, right?
There's
Almost
a
like
plague
that.
penguin.
Yeah.
Damn, that's grim.
Yeah. But he's got a clear chip on his shoulder against Gotham. And so he tells Bruce, he's like, same place that ground my family to dust gave you the good life. So he is very much against Gotham and resents it and feels like it's behind his downfall. And there's a lot more to this character that we'll get into after the break. But it just establishes a very interesting take on Penguin. But to give you guys a heads up, this is probably my favorite take on Penguin. Out of the many different versions, I like it better than the Danny DeVito one, the Gotham one. I mean, if they just combine this with making it a little bit more traditional.
You're telling me that you like this more than Unlimited Poontang Penguin?
Yes, I do.
My God.
So
Wolfie, are you confused at this, man?
Yeah, what is this now?
So Danny DeVito, no, what's his name?
Christopher Walken says it in the
Christopher
movie.
Walken says you'll get unlimited poontang to Danny DeVito Penguin in Batman Returns. It's a total,
Really?
it's totally yes, it's
I
a
gotta
lie.
revisit these movies again.
It's ridiculous, dude. He is a fucking Harvey Weinstein penguin motherfucker in those movies.
It makes so much sense. I had no idea what poontang was at that time.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't catch it when we were young, but then we're watching
What
it now
the
and just like,
heck?
how did this get PG-13?
I thought it was a citrus drink you stirred in your cup.
The astronauts drink it on the space station, right?
I love space.
No.
I'm
So-
wearing my NASA undies right now.
And my bomber jacket. That's it.
Oh, man. But what we got here is a very unique take on Penguin that I love, but we'll actually save this because at this point, if you're listening to this episode and you're just like, all right, I'm sold, it sounds like this is really cool, I want to play this game, then stop this now and go play it and then come back. Because after the break, we're going to get into territory about what else makes this unique, which will get us into some spoilerific territory. So catch you after the break.
Non-gamers, stick around.
Hey everybody, it's Andrew. I just wanted to tell you about our friend Israel's retro gaming shop, Retro Co. If you go to retro-ko.com, you'll be able to see all of his retro gaming goodies. If you wanted to get that Sega Saturn hidden gem from back in the day, or if you wanted to get the Famicom disk system that you never got as a kid, or any other type of retro game that you were into, or import game, please go to retroco.com. That's retro-ko.com. And if you use the SuperHouse code Johnson's Ballsack, you'll be able to get a little bit of a discount at checkout. So please, once again, if you could just go to retroco.com. You can also go to facebook.com/retroco with no hyphen. That's RETROKO. You'll be able to find him on Facebook as well. If you were looking for that PlayStation import game that you never got, if you were looking for that Mega Drive game that you never got, or any other kind of retro game, any import game, it could even be European, Israel also curates bundles at RetroCo, and he'll curate that bundle just for you. So please, go check him out. If you put in the code Johnson's Ballsack at checkout, you'll receive a SuperHouse discount.
And we're back. So we are going to continue with the spoilerific territory of the TellTale games. So where we left off, we've established all the different takes on different characters. Batman is fighting Falcone. Harvey is campaigning to be the mayor. Catwoman's out there. This feels very much like somewhat familiar year one-ish territory. And I think that was deliberate on TellTale's part because they wanted to basically cast you in the familiar. They knew that comic book, aficionados and fans were going to be playing this. So you start with something familiar, and then you start gradually pulling them into something that was their own unique take. And it started with Penguin, but shit gets real when we get to the end of the first episode. Because at the end of the first episode, Batman confronts Falcone. And no matter what way of you have of interrogating him, Falcone always ends up saying the same thing. Where he tells him, you want to save the city? Go after the Waynes. The Waynes are the biggest gangsters in Gotham. Now, this is the first major change in canon that establishes TellTale is different from the rest. Thomas Wayne was a criminal in this version of Batman. He was the complete opposite of the philanthropist. So, like, in the Nolan version, Thomas Wayne is, like, almost like this, like, the messiah we had at one point, where he's like, he was a great doctor. He was a great businessman. He started, Wayne Enterprises that saved Gotham. He was a great father. And Martha was his wife. And that was pretty much what they went with. Here, it's very different. Bruce confronts Alfred being like, this can't be true, because, like, everything that I've done was to honor him, was to honor the innocent and save them and prevent what happened to me from happening to everyone else. And if he turned out to be exactly what I hate, then all this was for nothing. So you have to tell me the truth. And Alfred's like, basically says that he was dreading having to tell them the truth. He's been holding on to this for 2 decades.
So I haven't finished the very last episode. Does it come out that Thomas Wayne actually had did some corrupt things?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
so
shit.
he flat out is there are, in the first few episodes, it's just like, hey,
shoot,
yeah.
Dang.
It's pretty much was trying to hit on the zeitgeist, which is the feeling that if you're rich, you're the bad guy. Just looking at how we've seen people deal with it. So they're just like, let's actually play around with that. And they did the same thing in Arrow. With Arrow, where they started with Oliver Queen coming back and being like, my family made a name for themselves while stepping on other people's throats. Like, it's a very similar thing to what they did with Arrow, even though in the original comics, the Queens and the Waynes, they didn't have that type of backstory.
It almost makes Batman like a criminal for good,
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
The lineage is not, painted as being so pretty anymore.
Mm-hmm. But, it's pretty much confirmed he was a mobster who obtained this wealth from working with Falcone and Hill. Falcone even tells Bruce, he's just like, I'm more family than you think. And
Wow.
Alfred even brings up, you can't, like, how do you think Thomas Wayne got rich? You can't amass that kind of money without certain compromises, is what he brings up to him. And you even go into detective mode to revisit Crime Alley, because Bruce is just like, I don't understand what happened. I have holes in my memory.
His whole world went flippity dippity.
Yeah, and he remembers, he goes back and thinks about what really happened, and he unlocks a repressed memory, which is Thomas Wayne's dying words. It wasn't Martha or don't be
Swallow
afraid.
your feelings.
No. Thomas Wayne's last words to Joe Chill were, tell Falcone he's making a mistake.
Oh, shit.
And Chill shoots him through the eye, Godfather style.
Oh,
Dude, this
That's
is a
why
very
they call
cool
me
rewrite.
Joe, and that's why they call me Chill. Always get the guy in the eye. I gotta get out of here.
That makes sense to get it makes sense to kill rich people for their pearls and shit too. You know what I'm saying? But also, it makes sense to kill somebody because they're involved with the mob anyway. You know what I
It's a
mean?
mob
So
hit, yeah.
it's a mob
Yeah.
hit. So that's fucking excellent.
dang.
Yeah.
Excellent
So
rewrite.
Bruce Wayne is kind of like Vito Corleone's nephew or something. He's like the prince of like,
He's basically if Michael Corleone became a vigilante instead of took over the business.
yeah.
That's what it. Yeah, so if we
Holy-
find out
it's
it was
sorry.
a mob hit.
it's like Nolan verse thing is kind of like Michael Mann's Heat, and this is kind of like the Godfather take on the Batman.
Yes.
That's great. Anyway,
So this is where shit got real, and I was like, oh shit, this is where TellTale was really established.
that makes it hardcore realistic too. It just like it resonates now in a way. It
Exactly,
kind of
yeah.
makes Batman even darker, even grittier. Question mark? What?
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause
a Penguin, when you first meet him, too, he says it's about Dent, but you can apply this to, like, thematically, I think. He says there's a forked tongue behind that smile. And it's like he just doesn't trust anybody that is so bright on the outside. And maybe Thomas Wayne was the same way, where he was a doctor and a philanthropist and the Waynes, but, they were fucking gangsters behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Here's
You know what I
another
mean?
thought, about like the Batman rule and him not taking lives and stuff. It's like at this point now, he's like a gangster. Bruce will do what he wants.
But yeah, a lot of it could come from like, I don't want to be my father in this
Okay.
version, you know?
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
also
for sure,
got
for
some
sure.
gravitas. Gravitas, by the way, is Latin for nuts.
Pretty sure that's not true.
Big tuggers.
It is from the Sanskrit, which means ball sack.
Anyway.
So we find out it was the mayor who sanctioned the hit.
Oh, yeah, right.
And
Mhm.
yeah, and
That
this
son
whole
of a
law
bitch.
connection. So Alfred reveals his part in all this because it's just like, well, what the hell was Alfred doing? Alfred reveals that he was the butler. He could only do so much, but he was planning to leave Thomas Wayne's employ, and that's when Thomas Wayne was killed.
I was going to block him on Facebook. Mr. Wayne.
But yeah, he was basically going to go back to England. He was flat out going to leave the Waynes entirely. But then when Thomas Wayne was assassinated, along with Martha, he was like, I can't leave the boy. So he's driven by guilt and responsibility because of the fact that he did not do enough against his employer during this
That's
time.
beautiful, man. And the kid,
Yeah.
it's like Grandmaster Flash said, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind, you know. Bruce came into this world an innocent, and Alfred has seen him fall in so many ways, you know.
Exactly.
Holy schmanoli.
So in this version, Bruce sees Alfred as his real father because he's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know Thomas Wayne. I reject him, but you're actually my
Wow.
real dad. It's
Dude,
kind of like that
I-
part in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
I have a thought as well, and this is actually not even too much of a tangent, I think. While I'm playing this game, I don't know why it occurred to me. It's just you think about Batman so much, especially as like you go from a kid to now, and you've gotten to this level where you think about it deeply. I was thinking that, like, for Bruce Wayne, for him to be Bruce Wayne, it reminds him of his parents. So there's probably some comfort in being Batman, even though it's just physical pain. You know what I mean? Like, he just doesn't want to be a Wayne in a way. You know what I mean? And maybe maybe in this story, it's even more so now that you explain all that, because I didn't get that far myself in the game just yet. But I don't know. I just think, like, it's just crazy how well all these elements really do, like, work and fit together. Like, you got Bob Kane, 10 plus broad, and then fucking Bill Finger comes along, and, like, I don't know if he had all this kind of figured out, but it just kind of feels like, God, all the ingredients for great storytelling and character work is just, God, it's just all there, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
You
we've
gotta
had
be
so
a
many different
Wayne in
versions.
the streets and a bat in the sheets, baby.
What, you mean get shot?
Oh, wow.
That got real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, figuratively speaking.
Yes. So what exactly did Thomas Wayne do as a mobster? And so here's where we get even more specific. He was the mastermind of getting rid of people who got in their way. So he used his position as a doctor to be a consultant at Arkham Asylum, and he was pretty much like Scarecrow in Batman Begins. Well, kind of the opposite. You know how Scarecrow in Batman Begins, he like put people in Arkham so they wouldn't have to go to jail. In TellTale, he put people in Arkham who crossed him, and he devised a serum that would make them seem like they were insane, so that he would seem like he was justified to the public to do that, which has an eerie parallel because guess whose son is currently putting people in Arkham? Batman is obviously has this parallel with his father. So
Whoa.
one of the people who Thomas Wayne put away in Arkham Asylum was Esther Cobblepot.
Oh, shit.
Esther Cobblepot owned land that Thomas wanted, and when she didn't want to sell it to him, Thomas injected her with a serum, and that's why he had her committed to Arkham, which led to the Cobblepots being ruined and Oswald's dad killing himself. So Thomas Wayne then took the Cobblepot land and built Wayne Enterprises on top of it. Thomas Wayne, in this version, is responsible for the birth of the Penguin. Oswald, then, is here to take back what's rightfully his, which, in his eyes, is Wayne Enterprises. So that's why Penguin is in this story. And that's why this is one of my favorite versions of Penguin, because I'm just like, there's so much about this that makes sense that I can't even, like, look at any other version of Penguin's origin and feel the same way. Like, he's so, it feels he's so justified. He's so evil in this game, but he seems so justified, and you understand why.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And it throws your whole conception of Batman, or everything you hold dear about Batman in a lot of ways, is kind of ripped to shreds. And they leave you with the pieces to pick it back up. You still love Batman, so you're going to keep going. But everything changes now. Like, it's so dire.
Because you can't help but kind of be like, he has a point. I mean, I hate his guts, but he's got a point in terms of like what he wants. So this obviously escalates because the news is all over the place when it comes to this information. There's been information leaked out. This is kind of why Vicki Vale is in the story too, is because she's the reporter who's just like, Bruce, tell me the real story on this, because it's saying that you have mob connections, and plus, people are saying that Falcone showed up at your house. Like, this isn't looking good, and it's also looking bad for the company, because Wayne Enterprises board is like, we need to be able to survive without Bruce Wayne. So they start asking Bruce to step down. And who do they think should replace him? Well, how about the guy whose family was screwed over to build Wayne Enterprises? They offer the CEO position to Oswald Cobblepot, and Cobblepot takes over Wayne Enterprises.
What?
So, again, this is where shit
Talk
is
about
even
left
more personal.
field.
Yeah. And Cobblepot, of course, as much as he has that background as being the Penguin, that's in the Penguin's background. He's already forged resumes of working at different companies and having leadership and managerial roles and having glowing recommendations. So it seems like, oh, he's the perfect candidate for CEO, and it'll help, protect our image. In this.
Oswald Cobblepot, Senior Vice President, Subway Sandwiches.
Yes, exactly.
Well, you got the logo right.
They were the ones that hired Jared.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's a bat villain for sure. The Diddler.
Oh my god. That's a bit much.
He's just waiting to strike again. I can't wait till the Joker unlocks all the cells. I don't know.
My villain name is Evil Hard Drive.
Come on, evil hard drive. I'll climb you down the tiers. I don't know.
Oh
Man. But yeah, this Penguin is obviously out for blood, and he's out to go up against Bruce Wayne, which makes it more personal than the usual, like, oh, Penguin is a mob boss and Batman hates crime, so therefore they must fight.
Let me just put a pin in that real quick. So Penguin's going against Bruce Wayne, not Batman.
Well, he sees Batman as still in his way because Penguin, of course, is committing crimes, and so
yeah.
And the Batman has no jurisdiction.
But this is a Bruce Wayne story still, though. I'm just saying that's still really cool on TellTale's part to kind of focus on that. It's another way, once again, to separate themselves from so many other Batman games.
Of course, yeah.
Like Batman 89 on the ZX Spectrum.
Right. That would be 80. Oh God, 85, 86, something like that.
Check out our Batman retro video games episode, part 1 of this series.
Yes.
This Penguin is very tech-based. He doesn't really have the trick umbrella, though. There's like one scene where it rains and he has it, so it's kind of an Easter egg, but he doesn't really use that.
And then he turns it into an umbrella and stays dry.
No.
It's got a katana handle.
Sick gadget. Cool. I've always wanted one. Where do you get that?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. At one point, Bruce basically has to leave. Yeah. At one point, Bruce has to leave Wayne Enterprises to Oswald, and leaves Lucius Fox there to be kind of his spy to see like what's going on. So Lucius Fox in this, funny enough, is voiced by Dave Fennoy, who was Lucius Fox in Arkham Knight. So this is our main crossover from the Arkham series, voice actor-wise.
Nice.
He is like the Nolan version of Lucius Fox, who helps make Batman's tech. Also different from Nolan's because he actually is down to listen into people's, bugs and surveillance stuff.
Michael K. Williams as fucking Lucius
Fox.
One thing I wanted to say is like, what if they do go this route with the Batman, with Matt Reeves' take on it, and it is more kind of like mob oriented. We always have mob guys around, but they're like lower level. But now with this type of story, Bruce is so ingrained with like organized crime that, I don't know, it just could seem to take that darker turn.
Yeah.
With the Penguin too. I mean, he's obviously the top
And if-
gangsters as well. So there you go.
And if they take away his funding from just speculating here, that they take away his funding for some reason, not that they're going to do this in the Batman, but say he is cut off from his fortune, and that leads to Batman and the suit, and like his development of it. Anyway, I was thinking out loud here. Sorry, Ben.
Well, Telltale does have Catwoman, Penguin, and Falcone, and so does the Batman. So we'll see.
yes.
Oh,
let's
shit.
see.
Boy, I don't mean to be blowing the lid, letting the cat out the bag and nothing, but shit, it's exciting.
Yeah.
This Corona shit's got to be over so they can get back to that fucking
Oh,
movie.
fuck.
Seriously.
They're going to have to finish that shit 6 feet apart in J.J. Abrams' garage on loan.
I thought about this. When they come back from break, I wonder if the rest of the footage, I wonder if Pattinson's been working out the entire time, and then, the rest of the footage is, jacked as shit.
What if it's a totally different movie after that? They just start changing it.
Hopefully, it gives Colin Farrell some more time to fatten up if he's gonna
Get a good
be the more
limp.
traditional
No,
Penguin.
just
Yeah.
Yeah. Grow your nose out.
Yeah. When Cobblepot.
That comes on down high from Harvey Weinstein in jail.
When Cobblepot takes over Wayne, he not only takes over the company, he takes over the tech. Because Wayne Tech has not only given technology to the GCPD, it's also responsible for Batman's tech.
Now it's Cobble Tech.
So get all those drones that Batman
Buy
was
it at
using.
Micro Center.
Yeah, all those drones that Batman uses. Who do you think is in control of them at some point? The Penguin. So you start regretting the use of drones at that point. Penguin even takes control of the Batmobile momentarily, kind of like in Batman Returns. And the way that he controls it is through a Google Glass device that fits onto his eye like a monocle.
Called
And that's
Cobble
their version-
Glass.
Yeah, that's their version of the monocle, which I think is awesome.
I cobble.
And then, of course, he ends up, of course, fighting either Batman or Bruce Wayne, depending on what you pick. But the end result, no matter what you do, may explain why he does the waddle in the future. So he may also fatten up in the future. So we'll see. But I really love this version of Penguin. It's very different, but it's just the motivation that's drawn out and why he does what he does and his plans and how he is constantly trying to outwit Bruce and sometimes succeeds in doing that really makes him a formidable villain. And I really hope that the Colin Farrell version of Penguin is basically in line with what they did here.
Oztech.
Yes, Oztech. Yeah, that would probably sound better than Cobble whatever or
Cobbletech.
Or whatever.
Cobbletronics.
Cobbletronics.
Try out our new virtual reality array. Put the
Circuit
trousers
City.
on first. Exclusive.
Let's see. So I definitely think the Catwoman take is very good too. And as Andrew hinted at, from the very beginning, when Selina and Bruce Wayne meet, first off,
a babe.
Selina, well, she's also Harvey Dent's girlfriend in this one, so that's another change in canon of
Is that the
doing
first
a love
time
triangle.
ever?
Bruce
by
is
the
a
way?
dirty little
I
stealer.
think that is the first time because usually Harvey is he has a fiance. He's got Gilda in most
Fine.
versions.
Oh, yeah.
He usually doesn't have a love triangle type of thing. But in this version, when Selina and Bruce meet, Selina sees Bruce's scars and Bruce sees Selina's wounds, and so they figure it out from day one, which creates some relief in the dynamic because there's only so many different versions we can see where they don't
That's
really
not
know
relief.
the others.
Dynamic is another word for.
Is that,
Just kidding.
is that why they thought Bruce and Dick were gay? Because they're the dynamic duo?
Yes.
Hey, swinging 60s,
Exactly.
baby.
But yeah, that's one of the major changes in the relationship. But yeah, Catwoman in this is very well done. She's constantly, pitted between both sides. Sometimes she helps Batman. Sometimes she's helping the bad guys. And
She's
there's
like a
several scenes
kick-ass
with her.
bartender. You're just like, God, she's awesome. I'm going to ask her out. Don't ask her out, dude. I want to come back here. No, I'm
Yeah.
going to ask her out.
She's pretty much unobtainable, it feels like, throughout. But I mean,
She's
you never really know-
unobtainium.
She's unobtainium, exactly. Where's James Cameron? But in this, I really like this version of her. But she does kind of tie into Harvey Dent's arc, which is the next big part that we're going to talk about here. As you guys talked about, they absolutely play up the Harvey and Bruce friendship to like max levels, like even more so than they did in the animated series.
Dear Harvey, I need some space.
Yeah.
Bruce.
There's a flashback, depending on what choices you make, you might not see this, but there's a flashback to Harvey telling Bruce he's thinking of campaigning for mayor because he wants a safer Gotham, and he wants one where, quote-unquote, nobody will be killed or robbed. And Bruce, of course, at the time, thinks about his parents, and that was before he found out about the truth of his parents, and tells them that he'll completely fund him and completely back him. So
Nice.
This Harvey is very much into trying to be the best mayor for Gotham and help clean up the streets. And unfortunately, as you might expect, that doesn't last very long. So that ends up in a debate with Mayor Hill because they're competing, against each other in the election. Penguin crashes it, immediately shoots the moderator, and shows up on TV and reveals that he's taking this over. And he says, "And now a word from our sponsor." And then he shows his boss. Now, Penguin isn't in control of everybody. He seems to lead this whole gang called the Children of Arkham. But the Children of Arkham answer to this masked figure that shows up on the TV screen, who basically declares that they are the Children of Arkham. And what they mean by that is they are the people who got fucked over by Thomas Wayne. And they're here to fight
Insult
back.
to injury.
Yeah, exactly.
And then more injury.
So that's why they're here, and they're here to take down the people responsible, one of whom is Mayor Hill, and Penguin associates Harvey Dent with Bruce Wayne, of course, because Harvey Dent's entire campaign is funded by Bruce. So Penguin's way of causing chaos and to show people that you can't trust anybody is he takes Vicki Vale hostage, and he has her inject both Harvey and Mayor Hill with the serum that Thomas Wayne made, in order to show people, here's what Thomas Wayne did to people. He injected them with this, and now you get to see its effect on people. So they kind of
Makes
go
you crazy.
Yeah, they go crazy momentarily and say stuff that's like tyrannical and dictatorish on the air, which of course doesn't help with their chances. And then because of Hill's role in what happened to Esther Cobblepot, Penguin shoots him to death and kills the mayor. And he goes for Harvey next.
Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
Yeah, and he goes for Harvey next, and Harvey's he's brought Harvey to the ground, and Penguin lifts up this huge Klieg light, and you have to make a choice, because at the same time, Catwoman is on the ground. Do you save
Okay.
Catwoman, or do you save Harvey?
I saved Harvey because Catwoman can take care of herself.
Well, if you save Harvey, you prevent him from getting scarred. And Catwoman gets wounded and runs off and resents you a little bit because she was shot. But Harvey...
She knows what's
gets,
up.
Yeah, Harvey gets to remain one face, I guess you could say. However, if you save Catwoman, then, as you might have predicted, Penguin dumps the light on Harvey's face and burns half of his face.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
See,
I
this is what
created-
I was
missed
I was
that.
wondering
Yeah.
how the story branching was gonna, and your
Yeah.
choices, and
That's
like
crazy.
how different the game was for everybody that plays. So yeah,
Right.
that's pretty interesting, I think.
So
I live in a
you
world of
either-
one face.
Yeah, exactly. So you either it's either you save Harvey, but Catwoman hates you, or you save Catwoman and you help create Two-Face. So it's like either way, it's not that great.
She kind
but-
of gets over it, though. I feel like.
Yeah, she
I feel
does,
like I
yeah,
was able
yeah.
to, weasel my way back into that one.
You can.
Me and Selena are good.
All right, so as I play,
Oh,
I will
bada
save
bing,
Harvey.
bada bing, bada
you
Bruce.
could. Yeah, you could. But
I think I
either
would have
way-
naturally saved Catwoman over Harvey if I had not had this conversation with you guys.
Well, we'll see, because we'll talk about it. But just because Harvey is not scarred doesn't mean that he's good friends with you for the rest of the entire series. So
I got
Son
you.
of a bitch.
yeah, Harvey is in the hospital. If you chose to save Catwoman, Harvey's in the hospital, scarred up. And when Bruce sees him in the hospital, Harvey is pretty much like Harvey from beforehand. So this is like the opposite of the one from The Dark Knight, where he was just automatically evil beforehand, right afterwards, being just like, you'll pay, Gordon. Like, now he's just like, oh, Bruce, you're here. Thank you for showing up. And he's like, hopefully,
My face hurts.
Yeah, my face hurts. Like, hopefully the plastic
Kiss
surgery
it.
will help, but like, I guess I'm the new mayor now. So here's what's interesting. Harvey Dent, whether he gets scarred or not scarred, becomes the mayor of Gotham. And because of the trauma from the attack, he feels like Gotham needs to protect itself better.
Okay.
And this is where we get really interesting, because no matter which version you pick, Harvey does not become a revenge-minded criminal or a guy who robs the Second National Bank every Tuesday. He becomes the mayor of Gotham City, and because of the trauma that happened to him, he decides to go overboard in protecting it from the Children of Arkham, and he turns Gotham City into a fractured police state and turns it into the opposite of everything Bruce had put his hopes in for. So,
Oh shit.
this Two-Face is running Gotham literally as a politician and destroying it from within.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So this Two-Face, I might get some flack for this. This Two-Face is everything Nolan's Two-Face should have been.
Nice.
Because
I gotta
we
finish
didn't-
this shit.
We didn't get this. We just got him being revenge-minded and going after people who were responsible for killing Rachel. In this one, it's about I still want to protect Gotham. I still want to save people. I just realized I didn't do it the right way beforehand because I got fucked over and now my face looks like this. And even if he doesn't get scarred, the trauma of that incident of being nearly killed by Penguin still gets to him and causes him to do this and causes him to make decisions based off of a coin. In which case, he doesn't become Two-Face because of what his face looks like. He becomes Two-Face because of what the trauma did to his psyche.
Right.
Which I thought that was interesting. But there's a lot of stories where, a criminal becomes the mayor, which is most likely, most of the time, it's Penguin. Like in the 1966 show, Penguin ran for mayor. He did the same thing in Batman Returns. It happened in the Batman animated series tie-in comic, Earth 1, Gotham. But I like Two-Face as the mayor way better. Because I think Penguin as the mayor, it's kind of just like, it's about like, I want to be accepted, and it's kind of cool because he's a criminal too. But like Two-Face, I'm just like, it actually makes sense because you've got the whole political angle with him.
Because he plays, can he play into like being a victim of violence as
That's
well?
it,
He's
yeah.
got these huge scar on his fucking face.
Yeah, and people, the people who work for him in the GCPD kind of are the ones who are all about like, oh my god, our guys are getting killed by Children of Arkham. We got to stand behind Mayor Dent, and even if that means killing some people, because we have to protect ourselves. So it creates this division. You could say a split in two in the GCPD in terms of who's with the mayor and who's with Lieutenant Gordon.
Right.
And Batman. But yeah, there's this emotional tragedy to this character because we see how it doesn't just affect Batman, it affects Bruce Wayne too, because he put all his hopes into Harvey, reimagining Gotham into the Gotham that would prevent what happened to his parents from happening to anyone else. And instead, this man he put all his hopes into becomes this dictator to everyone and ruins it. And there's so much emotion to that, and there's so much fun to play with Two-Face as the mayor that I think I've never really seen before, and I never really even considered that possible storyline until I saw this. I'm just like, this actually does make him more unique than just another Batman villain robbing a bank or being a mob boss. He's a flat-out corrupt politician in this, and that's what I loved about it.
Nice.
In one version of his downfall, he gets his arm burned, which makes him look more like the Arkham version of Two-Face. If you guys notice in the Arkham City version, Two-Face also is burned from the arm up.
Right.
So that's an interesting tie-in. But when you get to it, Andrew, there's going to be a time where you have to choose who to confront first, Penguin or Two-Face. If you choose to confront Penguin first, then you have to confront Harvey later on as Bruce Wayne. And that's actually a way more intense scene than if it's just Batman, because of the fact that these guys
Okay.
were friends. So I'd advise picking that. But it is a heavy, emotional scene between the two of them in terms of Bruce's hope for Harvey and still believing in Harvey, and Harvey going back and forth between, loving Bruce as a brother, but also wanting to protect himself and resenting Bruce and resenting the city for different reasons. And the way it ends is just fucking, it's more emotional than I think anybody was expecting for that.
It's
So definitely check that out.
orgasmic.
I don't know
Okay.
about that.
Did you
but
play? Did you play this, Wolfie? Play this part?
I haven't yet. I've only played up until the very last episode of the first season, which I still have to finish. And I'm looking forward to the second season, though, now. Heck yeah.
So
Okay.
in episode 4, what did you pick? Did you pick to confront Penguin at Wayne Enterprises as Batman, or did you pick to confront Harvey in Wayne Manor as Batman?
I picked Penguin,
Okay.
actually.
All right, so you'll see
Yeah.
this then. You'll see this.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll let you guys watch it for yourselves. But again, it's one of those things where it's exactly what I've always wanted to see in a Bruce and Harvey or a Bruce and Two-Face scene. So
Cool.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right, so the next stuff is going to get into even more because we still have one other villain to talk about, which is the masked person on the TV. Who is pulling the strings behind Cobblepot? Who gave him this platform and everything? So Bruce Wayne has to be at a press conference at one point to be like, hey, like I'm giving the company over to Oswald Cobblepot. And at the press conference, Bruce, somewhat inspired by Selina telling him to do this, ends up trying to out Oswald as being the Penguin. And obviously, Oswald has security, bring him over and not have him say all this type of shit. And they brings him to where the reporters are, where Vicki Vale is. And Vicki Vale seems like, oh, it seems like today's not your day. And she's like, by the way, did you drop your pen? And he's like, no, that's not mine. And she picks it up and she stabs Bruce and injects him with the serum. And she's like, do you feel that? That's the drug taking hold of you. And Bruce is like, you're with the Children of Arkham. And she's like, no.
I feel my anus quivering.
Yeah. She says, no, I am the Children of Arkham. I am Lady Arkham. So the villain of TellTale, Batman, is Vicki Vale.
Whoa,
in this version.
What? Boy.
So,
That's awesome.
Those
So-
chicken fajitas are
Yes.
sitting pretty weird.
so somebody who originally started as a Lois Lane ripoff, as like the reporter who's trying to put together Batman and Bruce Wayne together, and just kind of turned into his girlfriend or whatever. They completely flipped her upside down and turned her into a supervillain who helps give birth to Penguin, gives birth to Two-Face,
Nice.
ends up outing the whole truth about Thomas Wayne. She's behind all of this, and I love that twist because I'm just
Quality
like, I never felt,
reinvention.
yeah,
is what
because I
we'll
never
call
thought
that.
Vicki Vale was that interesting beforehand.
Nobody did.
And nobody did, but that's why this worked.
Yeah,
This is why it worked.
This is good.
So
yeah.
she injects him with a serum so that he can go crazy and guess what? Get committed to Arkham so that Bruce Wayne gets to feel how her parents felt. Because her parents, in reality, her name is not Vicki Vale. Her name is Victoria Arkham.
Oh my God.
She's from the Arkham family, and Thomas Wayne took them out so that he could use Arkham Asylum for his own purposes.
To the spaghetti factory.
Yes, he wanted to turn it into a restaurant.
But he forbade them appetizers.
So,
The worst. No.
so she wants revenge for not getting those appetizers. No, she wants revenge on him, so she throws Bruce Wayne into Arkham Asylum. And for a good portion of this game, you are fighting well, maybe not you as a player, but Bruce is fighting the serum that's getting at him. And he wakes up in Arkham, in a cell. And because of the fact that so many people in Arkham Asylum relate Bruce Wayne to being there, because so many of them are related to people or are people that Thomas Wayne put in, one of the orderlies lets a couple guys in to, teach Wayne a little lesson. So because of the fact that Bruce is under the drug, he can't really fight back as well. He's not really in tip-top Batman shape. So these guys start beating Bruce, and then another figure enters, and you hear a voice say, "The welcoming committee has really gone downhill here, hasn't it?" And he starts beating them. And Bruce looks up to see the guy
whap,
who beat
zing,
them up.
pow.
And he looks up to see a pale man with green hair smiling down with him.
Who
says,
is it?
Buddy, are you okay? And of course, it's the Joker. Or,
What?
as he's being called right now, John Doe. So, this is TellTale's version of the Joker, who doesn't even call himself Joker now. He's just called John Doe, and hasn't killed anybody. He's not homicidal. This is a very different version of the Joker. So
He's like Brad Pitt in 12 Monkeys, kind of.
yeah, kind of. He is pretty much like they took a very interesting route with this. They decided, let's do Joker's origin, but not the way that other people do Joker's origin. Most people do Joker's origin with like he found the chemicals and then he went crazy because he saw he turned into a clown. In this version, they keep it mysterious.
He got
in terms
diddled
of-
by Jared.
Yeah. No.
The diddler. Or, wait, what was it? Evil hard drive.
Yes. in this version, it's not really known what his real name is. It's not really known how he got the white skin or the green hair. It's not even known how he landed in Arkham. So they keep
He's
it
from
mysterious
Nova
in that.
Scotia, eh?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, my God.
So they just
Get
call
a
him
10
John
out
Doe.
there is to be 2 shades over clear.
But John, he's just called John Doe in this. So he doesn't even respond to the name Joker in this. And your choices throughout TellTale are what turn him into the Joker. And that's what's implied.
shit.
So there's this
Push
interesting
him,
irony where...
Kick him.
Yeah. There's an interesting irony where you're dealing with him as Bruce, and you as a player, you know that's the Joker. But the person you're in control of, Bruce Wayne, doesn't know that's the Joker. So
Yeah.
you try to make sure that you're on your toes around
So
him.
my question here is there a story branch in which there is no Joker? Like you treat him so well, the Joker's never created?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, all right.
Not that I'm aware of. To the heartbreak of many people, because this did create a lot of people wanting a version where John Doe doesn't become the Joker. Because this version of the Joker wants to
Because
be
really,
best friends with
anybody
Bruce. Yeah.
else could be the Joker. They could have let him be. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe. So John Doe in this is voiced by actor Anthony Gruber. Anthony Gruber will go into his history because it's very different from the others. The others who we've talked about have been veteran voice actors for a very long time. Anthony Gruber started off as an impersonator on YouTube. So you would see him do impersonations of Harrison Ford because he kind of resembles Harrison Ford. But he can do impressions of Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger's Joker, and Mark Hamill. Specifically, Mark Hamill's Joker. He can do all three of them. He was cast as young Harrison, the young version. Yeah, he was cast as the young version of Harrison Ford in Age of Adeline, opposite Blake Lively, and has met Harrison Ford. There was even a campaign.
Was
to
that a
cast
movie?
him. That was a movie, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That kind of movie, kid.
And there was a campaign to get him cast as Han Solo in the Han Solo movie. He kind of dodged a bullet there. but
There is no
anyway.
high ground with those flying things around. What's that from, guys? What's that from?
Saints Row.
Cowboys versus aliens, duh.
Oh my god, dude. John Favreau classic. My bad.
It's a Johnny Fab's classic, bro.
Too much broccoli in this here bowl.
Add some Velveeta cheese to that thing, baby.
So TellTale contacts Anthony Gruber based off of his impersonations on YouTube. And he wasn't sure if they wanted him to do a version of Heath Ledger's Joker or an impersonation of Mark Hamill. And they're like, no, we want you to do your own take. So his Joker manages to not sound like any previous version of the Joker. He created his own unique voice because his version of Joker isn't Joker yet. So sometimes
Right.
he sounds innocent, sometimes he sounds a little crazy, but not like homicidal crazy, more just like he likes dark humor a little too much. That type of stuff.
Right.
Oh, he's like Donnie Darko.
Yeah, maybe. But he does get closer to 12 Monkeys Brad Pitt. But yeah, I mean, he
No.
wants to befriend Bruce, and he seems to know a little bit about Vicki Vale, a.k.a. Victoria Arkham. So he's the one who tells you
Tap
about
that.
her backstory. That's how he knows all this stuff.
Hey, don't mess with her. She's trouble, buddy.
So
Just
he helps you out in introducing you to the rest of the population in Arkham, which includes Mr. Zaz, which includes a middle-aged man with a sock puppet. So obviously, our friend Andrew Sellon.
Ah,
will
yes,
know who that is.
indeed.
rhymes with Schmrenquiliquist.
Yes.
There's
but
too many
he-
words that rhyme with ventriloquist.
Yes, exactly.
Bobby Stokes is also in there. Jimmy Boggs and Jimmy D and Bobby Two Teeth and Sarah Joe as well.
Bubba Lightfoot, 10% Indian.
John Doe becomes your ally in getting out of Arkham. He actually wants to help you because he wants to see Bruce cave into his darker nature, because he has a feeling that there's some darker side to Bruce that he's not letting out based off of the footage of Bruce going nuts from being injected with a serum.
He's trying to tempt his character.
Yes, he is.
Huh.
So
Well,
he says, yes. So he tells him, when I get out of here, you're going to owe me a favor. Just one. We will meet again. I promise you that. So, John
It's like
Doe.
Jared Leto. But
Yeah,
like
kind
a
of.
better version of Jared Leto's Joker.
a
and then-
better version than that, Wolfie?
Yes.
I don't know about that,
You
man.
can't top Leto. But, of course.
What if he came back and then the Joker had his own Joker cult, like the Leto cult? That would be
Yeah, that's
that would be
kind of-
awesome and
yeah.
fun.
I
It's the
think that
actual
works.
people in the Leto cult.
Then we get
Yeah.
constant reinventions of the Joker, and the Joker is really this like dark spirit that inhabits the hearts of these twisted fuckers.
And he has a band too, and it sounds fucking terrible.
That'd be tight. You know how Spider-Man has all these different outfits and stuff? Like, keep it rolling with the Joker. I want punk Joker. I want fucking corporate Joker.
I've always wondered if there were punk shows in Atlantis. No, like I could totally see Grant Morrison making like a whole subculture, counterculture, like people in Atlantis.
Well, you don't listen to
in
Atlantean punk?
in
Fucking
Aquaman's
poser.
world, in Aquaman's world, you know, like I don't know. I think that shit would be really fun.
I could see Jason
Hey,
Momoa
look at
and
me, I
Aquaman
can talk to
listening to
fish.
that.
Hey, look at me, I can talk to
Exactly.
fish. Hey, look at me, I can talk to fish.
Oh, by the way, the Aquaman and Harley Quinn's pretty funny as well. Anyway,
Yeah, he is. Let's see. Other things are, at one point, you end up fighting Penguin's drones with a recently orphaned kid who's African American. You never get his name, but his parents have been killed, and you swear to bring the killer of his parents to justice. And at one point, the kid helps you out in taking out the drone. And Batman
Miles
tells him-
Morales.
Yeah, exactly. It's Miles.
Oh,
You know, all the
shit.
great Miles Morales Batman.
I wondered how Batman became Spider-Man. Always did.
So Batman says, "You're the kid who saved Batman, and I will always owe you one." Now,
Ooh.
we
Dirty
never find out the
deals.
kid's name, and he's never shown up in any other time. But there is speculation that we might have seen a Black Dick Grayson. What? Or
Right.
somebody who's going to become a Black Robin.
Oh.
So
it could happen.
that's
Could
interesting.
happen.
could happen. Very different from the Acrobat origin, but
They
considering
wouldn't be
that-
calling him Dick
Yeah.
in the hood, though. That's for sure. They'd be calling him Big D, son.
Or
Yeah.
Richie.
Sorry, is that racist? I apologize.
Let's see. And then there is a part where you have to switch bat suits. So depending on what happens, you can either Lucius gives you the earlier prototype Batman suit, which feels a little bit more less busy, a little bit more simple, or he gives you the quote-unquote updated version, which looks a little bit more armored and has these interesting armored type shoulder guards, looking very similar to the pictures of the Robert Pattinson Batman suit.
Dude, it's obvious now to me that Matt Tomlinson or whatever his name is,
Mattson Tomlin, yeah.
Mattson Tomlin and Matt Reeves love TellTale. Let's just call it like
There's
it
just
is.
too much. We got
Wait.
a young Batman in year 2-ish with a Gordon who's not commissioner yet, because I think Jeffrey Wright isn't Commissioner Gordon yet. Catwoman, a penguin named Oz Cobblepot, Carmine Falcone. We got an armored like bat suit with those shoulder guards, potentially lenses. We got a Batmobile that's closer to a regular car. Like, all these things are lining up.
Yeah, it's
Okay, so
very
here's the
similar now.
question: Would you be disappointed if it is like on the nose to a varying degree, a high degree?
Of TellTale in live action?
Yeah.
I mean,
Or would it
I'm
be like a
conflicted
nice
on
thing
that.
to keep in your back pocket? Be like, I was there when TellTale did it, but this is nice.
It depends, because like, if they fuck up the execution of it,
Yeah.
and TellTale is like way better, then I'm just gonna be like, why did I see this? I could have just watched more of the TellTale stuff or played more
Well,
of the game.
you
know?
gotta have a
It
live
depends on how
action.
they do it.
It's gonna be a live action version as well. You're gonna have its own cinematography. It's gonna
Yeah.
have
Right.
its own
So it
its own
depends.
score
The
as
score.
well. You know what I mean? And it will
Yeah.
have a different
It
enough
won't be.
story. It's the
So what
first-
you're saying is there's no way it can be disappointing in any way possible.
Yes,
and
that is
isn't
exactly
going
Exactly
to
what I
be.
said.
It is exactly it, man. How'd you know?
Yeah. That's what I was hoping to hear.
So That is, but yeah, the 5 episodes for season 1 were Realm of Shadows, Children of Arkham, New World Order, Guardian of Gotham, and City of Light. There's other things that I did not talk about. I'll leave you guys to discover them on your own when you're playing it, but we covered the major talking points that make this a really interesting take on Batman, and it does seem like there is some influence on the Matt Reeves version. So, shout outs to, not in terms of our social media shout outs, but in terms of how I got to watch all of this. There's Batman Arkham videos on YouTube, as well as another user named Andy Gilliand, who edited them and cropped them to make it, to basically take out the subtitle part or the choices part, so it really feels like a 3D animated 5-hour animated Batman movie.
That's cool.
And then there's another user named Michael Harlan who takes certain scenes from TellTale and he rescores them with the music from different Batman media. So there's one where Bruce confronts Harvey, but it's the music from the Dark Knight ending where Bale is confronting Eckhart, or Batman fighting Penguin, but it's the music from Gotham for Penguin's character. Nice. So those are all some really cool things to check out when it comes to TellTale. But that is season 1, but that was not the end of TellTale. TellTale had a sequel series, which we will cover next time, called Batman: The Enemy Within. So that'll be part 4
Nice.
of our video game.
Gotta play it.
Yep. And
So
of course, that
we at our-
features...
We had our final summation for Telltale Part 1.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, Batman: The Enemy Within will be the continuation of that, where you will certainly get to see more of John Doe.
Okay, nice. For sure. So
Titillating.
I was when I was playing this, I was like, okay, the perfect Batman game now to me is like around 80%-ish Arkham. Still Arkham. You got Batman, the Batman fighting, Batman sneaking scenes, Predator missions, all that stuff. Very good. I like the open world, all that. Keep the Gotham sort of similar. You know what I mean? But more Bruce Wayne segments, 20% of it's Bruce Wayne. When it's like that, pretty much rip off TellTale and do it exactly like that. have TellTale write the story entirely for this game, but still have the action like Rocksteady does it.
Yeah.
And then I think have fuck the Bat Tank, get the Lamborghini back in there, and we're looking at a perfect game, guys. Perfect game.
Yeah. Fair enough.
No, that sounds amazing. I think that's the perfect merging of it, because there's still something, obviously, to the Arkham games in terms of fighting it. You get to fight. It's more of a fighting thing, obviously.
I'm playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider right now, and they do a lot of stuff now in God of War where they're using a lot of good motion capture between scenes to make it feel more cinematic and things like that. You know, like maybe take a cue from some of these more modern third-person action adventure games as well. You know, 25% of that sprinkled in.
Well, yeah, I think we're definitely going to see a very next-gen Batman game with Court of Owls too.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Or Arkham Court, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, I hope they've just really kind of rethunk a few things and redefined a few things. That would be so great. I mean, who doesn't want a Batman game all the time, every time, all day?
Of course.
Oh, man, yeah, this has been good, man. Thanks. So we have one more. We have a final installment of our video game series, correct?
Yes, because there was way too much good stuff in season 1. I totally thought we could do it all in one episode, and then I rewatched this, and I was like, nah, this deserves its own thing.
Yeah.
This is just
I think that was
good.
a good dissection. Sorry to cut you off.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
But yeah, this is definitely, like, as you can tell, I love this version. I think it's like, if we didn't have Batman the Animated, like, Batman the Animated Series is probably still number 1 for everyone's hearts, but if I were to give, like, a second choice, this would probably be number 2, just in terms of just how well they delve into all the characters.
It's like an adult BTAS, kind of.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and I think the most impressive thing is just, they could have just gone traditional. They could have just been like, oh, yeah, it's the same shit, like, Thomas Wayne's the philanthropist, Falcone's the mobster, yeah, Harvey Dent becomes but instead they were just like, we will do something different with the canon. We will make our own mark at a time where there were already so much different versions of the Batman story that would have been hard to differentiate, but they still pulled it off, and I think that's even more impressive than before.
you have to always respect canon, but at the same time, you have to, I don't know what you say, enhance. Respect, but enhance.
That's the
enhance.
fun. I think that's the fun part about the art and the art of Batman is like reinventing these things to kind of fit or be a new take on it, like, because the bat, the Joker, the clown, the question mark, the coin, those things are never going to change. Right. But moving Batman forward into being contemporary and relevant seems to be like the fun and reinvention for that mythos.
Will you sign my 6-foot sub? Oh.
Okay, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks again, Ben. Catch me on Twitter and Instagram as Thunderwolf Drew. Patreon.com/SuperHousePodcast. Please contribute to the Patreon, to the Shasta Army, and that's the $1 tier on that one. And then also, we take it away, Ben, with the Instagram stuff.
Sure. So shout outs to, as usual, Matt Herring, Cookie Noms, Shasta, of course. In terms of the new ones, we've had a lot of new fans, partially due to a lot of the Instagram challenges that we've been doing, as well as other guests that we've had sharing us out. So thank you to Batman Stop Motion, aka the Bat Feed, who just opened his YouTube channel. And we've of course been supporters and subscribing each other, but he's a friend of ours. J.O.C._LB. Some of these are hard to say out loud, but thank you for liking a lot of our posts. The Black Delilah Murder, D. Grayson W., Mr. Jones Big Smoothie Forever, Zachary Jackson Brown Art, and Frank Miller Appreciation. All of you guys, thank you very much for your support. Also, given this time, it's likely by the time of this release we will still be in quarantine, and there are still those who are affected by this quarantine, especially those who are in the medical field. So as our special guest of last time, Andrew Sellin, shared, please go to the Instagram for Shields for Heroes, and you can help donate to help get doctors and medical professionals the protection that they need in order to help treat others, since a lot of the people in the medical community are currently suffering from symptoms, and a lot of them are also dying from that, and we need to protect them. Also, given the quarantine, a lot of actors or people who are even below the line have been affected because there's no production. So the Actors Fund has been around for a long time, but it's also teamed up with other organizations to help those who are production assistants, who are basically interns, or anybody who is affected right now. They are helping out to provide funds to people during this time who are out of work. So please go to the Actors Fund website. Also, Shakespeare that was told to us by Andrew Sellin, could use some support during this time, and as well as Amanda Smith's Rehabilitation Fund. She was the PA who was paralyzed in an accident on set for Batwoman. They are about a couple thousand away from their goal, but still, any support you can send over there would be greatly appreciated. And of course, I am Ben Juan Writer on Instagram, as well as curate the SuperHouse Podcast Instagram at SuperHousePod, and our Twitter at SuperHousePod.
Hey, this is Wolfie, otherwise known as Gangsta Bruce the Don. So my parents weren't all that great, but I turned out okay, So remember to mind your P's and Q's, and not for nothing, baby boy, but I know a guy in all black will break your teeth. But you didn't hear that from me. Signing off. You find me, catch me out there on the streets, in the grams and the books. Hey.
You went to Fonz.
Gangsta Bruce.
All right, everybody. Also, please, we'd like you to become a part of Superhouse. If you could just open up your phone to your voice recorder app and then record something like, Superhouse is fucking awesome, or you guys fucking rock, or I love Superhouse, or you've already listened to probably a few of these already at the beginning of them, because we've already had a few people do it, so fans and interviewees alike. But yeah, we'd like to add to our collection, and if you could just share that voice recording to SuperHousePodcast@gmail.com, you too can become a part of Superhouse. And I think that's going to do it for me, signing off.
Ben's signing off.